breaking news in the last few minutes. It's bad news for Swindon because Paolo di Canio has resigned as their manager and he has intended now to leave the club. I say now intended to leave the club because he offered his resignation last Tuesday, the 12th of February, and only today did he reach a deadline with the new owners where he didn't get what he wanted. So he says his resignation stands and he is going to be leaving the club. Let's get more from our reporter Chris Hull, who's been covering this story. It was a lengthy statement from Paolo di Canio, but the main gist of it is he's leaving the club now.
Always colourful, always combustible, always exciting following Paolo di Canio's reign at Swindon Town, Adam. But again, this is yet another episode, and it would appear potentially to be the final episode in Paolo di Canio's history with Swindon Town. And clearly one of the main issues for Paolo over recent weeks was the sale of Matt Ritchie, his talisman, one of these finest players who has helped to guide them up to League One. They won League Two by a country mile last year. They're knocking on the door of the Championship through promotion through League One. Matt Ritchie sold just before the transfer deadline to Bournemouth, one of their nearest rivals for promotion. And clearly, Paolo di Canio very unhappy about that, unhappy about many other issues as well. And obviously the club's going through quite an interesting period at the moment with the possible transition to a new consortium.
Just explain the situation as you understand it, because obviously that's been the deal breaker for Paolo di Canio, because he said that he wanted to leave last week and he'd intended to do so. It seems as if he reached an agreement with the new owners, but that new deal for Swindon hasn't been ratified by the Football League, so he's run out of patience.
Absolutely, and over the last half an hour, my phone has been red hot from all the various angles and all the various sources around the football club, and I can see it from all angles. Paolo believes that the club are on the brink, on the cusp of something really great in terms of getting promotion to the Championship. He wants that further backing. He didn't want to lose Matt Ritchie. Yes, he realises that the club have backed him well, but he thinks that the club are right on the verge of getting into the Championship and the top two divisions. However, let me say this in the defence of Swindon Town, they have backed Paolo incredibly well over the last 18 months. They have given him resources that any other manager in League Two or League One would be absolutely thrilled and delighted about. The club have spent a lot of money in recent times, and some of the figures that have been quoted, anything between 10 and 13 million pounds that the club have outlaid in recent times. This new consortium has come in. It looks like the Football League may, over the next 48 hours or so, ratify this new consortium, which I am told very reliably that the Football League are very happy with the way things are going, but they haven't given it that final rubber stamp yet. However, Paolo di Canio has decided to take action himself. Indeed, as you said, Adam, last Tuesday, the 12th of February, he formally confirmed his resignation to Swindon Town with immediate effect. He did not resign immediately. He didn't publicise that resignation or formally confirm it because he didn't want to jeopardise the negotiations for the sale of the football club. He wanted to try to sort out those issues. They haven't been resolved. And tonight, Paolo di Canio has resigned from Swindon Town Football Club.
Just one final point, Chris, because obviously it's been confirmed by this statement that this has been quite protracted already. Is there any chance, and Swindon haven't confirmed it on their website, they haven't confirmed it officially to you, I presume, that they've accepted this resignation. Do you feel that they may well fight to keep him and that's a possibility?
Well, as Paolo has said over recent days and over recent weeks, he believes that certain elements of his contract have been breached, particularly with the sale of Matt Ritchie allegedly behind his back. He wasn't informed before Matt Ritchie went down to Bournemouth. He was incredibly upset about that. I mean, you can imagine how upset a man with the emotions and the passions of Paolo di Canio was when he believes that his talismanic player, his key player to get Swindon Town into the Championship, is sold from under his feet. He did believe that he had a temporary arrangement with the new proposed owners to stay in situ, to be the manager of the club until Football League approval was granted by 5 p.m. On Monday night tonight. That has not happened, and because he's had no further contact from the proposed new owners as far as Paolo's concerned, he has unfortunately had to tender his resignation.
OK, Chris, thank you very much for now. I'm sure we'll get much more from Chris throughout the evening as we chase more reaction to this story. Let's have a look at the record of Paolo di Canio. He's been in charge since May 2011. That was after Swindon were relegated into League Two. He won promotion. And now, once again, he's chasing a second promotion in the Championship. Overall, 95 games in charge, 54 victories, those 18 draws, just 23 defeats. A very good win percentage for the outspoken Italian, 57%.
Talking of outspoken, thank you very much for all your emails. They're absolutely flooding in at the moment. Don't forget, you can email us at the email address, as you can see, just where I'm pointing. You to us at skysports.com. I'm going to read some of your emails out. Majority are very positive, actually, towards Paolo Di Canio. Absolutely gutted to hear this. What a great ride we have had with him. Why the club went behind his back and sold Richie, we will never know. Thank you, Paolo. That's from Jack Roberts. Totally gutted. Paolo was the best thing to happen to Swindon since Ardiles and Macarai era. Will not be renewing season tickets. No name on that one. Paolo Di Canio is and always will be a legend. Absolutely gutted about this, but had kind of expected it over the last few weeks. From a Swindon Town fan. Can't think of a better or more passionate manager. That's Kev. Di Canio will be a loss to the league. I'm a Man City fan, but love his presence here. That's from Alan. Absolutely gutted that he felt his job had become untenable. The best, most passionate manager I have known Swindon to have in my time of supporting them. That's from Rob. Swindon will go down the table now because they've lost their manager. So many positive comments here towards Paolo Di Canio, and a lot of thanking him for the job he's done at Swindon. Cannot believe Paolo Di Canio is the best manager we ever had. Hope it's not bad news for Swindon Town. This is from Carolyn, who's a season ticket holder. Gutted isn't the right word now, especially with a big game tomorrow night. He'll always be a legend in the eyes of all Swindon fans. Onwards and upward. Adam, I think you've got a few too. I've got some negative ones that we'll move on to in just a moment. Yeah, I mean, obviously, as Charlie said there, a lot of people are very disappointed and disillusioned that he has left the club. I'm a Charlton fan, says Jack Hughes, and Di Canio did very well for us as a player. I do feel this is a setback for Swindon and thus will not get promoted this season. John Dill, who's been a fan of Swindon for 45 years, the man will always be a legend, but they come and they go. No one will ever be bigger than the club. And one final one, what a shame for Swindon Town. Another classic case of boardroom bickering and broken promises to one of the most passionate characters about. Being a Hammers fan, a West Ham fan, I'd have Paolo back at Upton Park right now, says Danny Kenny. The fact that he's going to be out of work, potentially, and he's resigned, is the next step, I suppose. Who would want Paolo Di Canio in charge of their club? So, whilst we want to hear from, when we want to hear from Swindon fans about the departure, there'll be plenty of fans out there will think, well, Paolo Di Canio's done great, and we want him at our club, so do let us know. There's so many emails coming in. Let's just go to the negative ones, because we spoke about how positive you feel towards Paolo Di Canio, but there are a few saying good choice, but never liked him, too arrogant. He was slightly controversial character, as we all know. A few more. I'm sorry to see Paolo go as Swindon manager, as he brought the fans together, and it was only a few weeks ago. A few hundred of us helped Paolo and his backup team, if you remember, when they cleared the pitch due to the bad weather. But the takeover has been a mess, eventually going through on 30th of January. The question is, why have the club and Paolo been left in limbo for the last 3 weeks by the Football League? They torn the hearts of the club in 1990, and they're doing it again in 2013. Paolo has always been a bit of a drama queen. Let's not lose focus on the bigger picture. Swindon are in a strong position with a good squad of players. The club is always bigger than any one individual. That's from Robert in Glasgow. There is always that argument. And, well, what can you say? This is from Mark Bevan. Anything under Paolo is a soap opera. Yes, he got us up last season. And yes, we are third. Well, 6 at the moment. But no one is as big as the club. It's so tight at the top of League One at the moment. Thanks for the memories, and I'm sure all of us Swindon fans wishing the best of luck for the future. Now for 3 points tomorrow to take us up to the top of the league. A very tough league it is at the moment. Do keep your reaction coming into us on those addresses that you can see at the bottom of your screen. Swindon fans this evening coming to terms with the news that Paolo Di Canio is no longer their manager. Yeah, we'll continue to get reaction to that breaking story right here throughout the evening.
Top story this evening, Paolo Di Canio has resigned as the manager of Swindon Town. We've been joined in the studio, as you can see, by Nigel Winterburn, who's had various different altercations and relationships with Paolo Di Canio over the years. Sheffield Wednesday, when he was playing, and you were, well, flinching away from him at one point, weren't you? When
quite
he was,
quickly.
Yeah, quite quickly, having seen him push over Paul Alcock. But then you played with him at West Ham. The nuts and bolts of it are, Nigel, he's left because he feels that there have been a number of broken promises made or not fulfilled by Swindon Town. The Swindon Town fans are going to be absolutely gutted this evening, aren't they?
I would think so, because Paolo's done a fantastic job for them, playing attractive football as well. But we know Paolo Di Canio is a volatile character. You know, I played with him at West Ham. He's a very proud man as well. You know, he likes to train full out. He likes it all to be professional, to be very right. And I've been at West Ham on several occasions where he didn't think the training was right. He didn't think players were applying themselves right. He would walk off the training ground and come back tomorrow as if nothing happened and started again. So he likes everything to be run properly. And if he believes that it's not being done properly at Swindon, it doesn't surprise me that he's walked away.
The fact that he's had great success at Swindon, he's going to be a wanted man now, isn't he, by other clubs?
I would think so, yeah. I mean,
or would they not want to take that
no,
potential
I think,
baggage
you know,
on?
Listen, he's a huge character. He had an immense player, immense skill on the football pitch as well. And in the lower leagues, he's shown that, you know, he can manage as well. He can get a team to play attractive football. So that I would think there'll be a few clubs looking at this situation with Paolo now, and always, you know, managers and owners are willing to take a chance with certain players and people, and I think they will with Paolo Di Canio as a manager.
Hi there, good evening. Welcome to Sky Sports News on the day. Di Canio walks away from Swindon. We've got the full story coming up.
Plus, Wenger hits back at his critics in sensational style. And we look forward to England against France in the Six Nations. And we're with England's cricketers in New Zealand.
Updates from Manchester United, Reading, and also Crawley against Doncaster to come. But first to the breaking news tonight that Paolo Di Canio's turbulent spell in charge of Swindon is now over. The Italian has blamed broken promises from the board for making his position untenable. Di Canio led Swindon to promotion in his first full season in charge, but threatened to resign earlier this month after striker Matt Ritchie was sold without his consent in January. He's now revealed he offered to resign on Tuesday, but entered into a temporary arrangement with the proposed new owners to stay on as boss if the takeover was approved by the Football League by 5 p.m. tonight, and that hasn't happened. So Di Canio says he has no option but to resign after less than 2 years in charge. This is what he has had to say. My position with the club had become untenable after I found out that Matt Ritchie had been sold without my consent. There have been a number of broken promises. Despite these problems, I have delivered everything and more that was asked of me.
As Paolo has said over recent days and over recent weeks, he believes that certain elements of his contract have been breached, particularly with the sale of Matt Ritchie allegedly behind his back. He wasn't informed before Matt Ritchie went down to Bournemouth. He was incredibly upset about that. I mean, you can imagine how upset a man with the emotions and the passions of Paolo Di Canio was when he believes that his talismanic player, his key player to get Swindon Town into the Championship, is sold from under his feet. He did believe that he had a temporary arrangement with the new proposed owners to stay in situ to be the manager of the club until Football League approval was granted by 5 p.m. On Monday night tonight. That has not happened, and because he's had no further contact from the proposed new owners as far as Paolo's concerned, he has unfortunately had to tender his resignation. Last Tuesday, the 12th of February, he formally confirmed his resignation to Swindon Town with immediate effect. He did not resign immediately. He didn't publicise that resignation or formally confirm it because he didn't want to jeopardise the negotiations for the sale of the football club. He wanted to try to sort out those issues. They haven't been resolved, and tonight, Paolo Di Canio has resigned from Swindon Town Football Club.
Well, Di Canio was in charge at Swindon for 95 games. He won 54 of them, drew 18 and lost 23. He ends his Swindon reign with a win percentage of 57%. He also won promotion in his only full season in charge. Swindon won the League Two title and Di Canio showed off his singing talents at the end of season celebrations. Di Canio's last game in charge was a 1-1 draw with Hartlepool, a game which extended the club's unbeaten run to 11 games in all competitions. Well, Di Canio leaves Swindon with the club 6th in League One, as we can see there, just 2 points outside the automatic promotion places. Their next game is against Tranmere tomorrow night.
The breaking news tonight, Paolo di Canio has resigned as manager of Swindon.
Well, Di Canio leaves the club 6th in League One, just 2 points outside the automatic promotion places. Well, we're joined in the studio this evening by someone who knows Paolo di Canio very, very well. They played together at West Ham, but prior to that, September 1998, this happened. Nigel Winterburn, having seen Paolo di Canio push Paul Alcock to the floor. There was an incident here which will forever be remembered because Paolo di Canio was pretty disappointed. He pushed Paul Alcock to the ground, which led to this moment there. You went head-to-head with Paolo di Canio.
Do you know what?
And flinched.
It takes years to be able to duck and weave like that. Boxing skills come into play very often. I liked a little bit of chit-chat, but I didn't want anybody to hit me, that's for sure.
I mean, what are your memories of that moment? Because every time people talk about Paolo di Canio, obviously reminding people this evening that he's resigned as the Swindon manager, they do refer back to that because it almost summed up Paolo di Canio and his, well, ferocity as a footballer, didn't it?
Well, I think the word I used earlier was volatile. I mean, when I went to West Ham and played with Paolo di Canio, we had great respect for each other. He was a tremendous player, trained really, really hard. But, you know, as I said to you, if he was not happy with the way things were going in training, if he didn't feel that players were applying themselves properly, he would walk off the training pitch, get a shower, go home and come back tomorrow and start all over again. So that's the type of character you're talking about. So it doesn't surprise me that if things are not right at Swindon, then he walks away from the football job. That's the type of person he is, sorry. But he's done a fantastic job at Swindon. His team plays some attractive football.
And do you think other chief executives, other chairmen, other clubs will be thinking, well, he's worth a go. He's done very well.
Well, if you look at his managerial record so far, then I think there'll be a few chairmen rubbing their hands and thinking, do you know what, it's maybe worth taking a chance with Paolo di Canio.
I was more worried about how easily the referee fell over.
Paolo di Canio's turbulent spell in charge of Swindon is over. The Italian has blamed broken promises from the board for making his position untenable. Di Canio led Swindon to promotion in only his full season in charge, but threatened to resign earlier this month after striker Matt Ritchie was sold without his consent in January. He's now offered to resign on Tuesday, but entered into a temporary arrangement with the proposed new owners to stay on as boss if the takeover was approved by the Football League by 5 p.m. today. That didn't happen, so Di Canio says he has no option but to resign after less than 2 years in charge. My position with the club had become untenable after I found out that Matt Ritchie had been sold without my consent. There have been a number of broken promises. Despite these problems, I have delivered everything and more than that was asked of me. Di Canio was popular with the fans, though. They brought banners to the fixture at Crawley the day after Di Canio first threatened to resign to show their support. His last game in charge was a 1-1 draw with Hartlepool, a game which extended the club's unbeaten run to 11 games, currently the second longest unbeaten run in England's top 4 divisions.
Well, Di Canio leaves Swindon with the club 6th in League One, just 2 points outside the automatic promotion places. Their next game is at Tranmere tomorrow night.
Paolo's done a fantastic job for them, playing attractive football as well, but we know Paolo di Canio is a volatile character. You know, I played with him at West Ham. He's a very proud man as well. You know, he likes to train full out. He likes it all to be professional, to be very right. And I've been at West Ham on several occasions where he didn't think the training was right. He didn't think players were applying themselves right. He would walk off the training ground and come back tomorrow as if nothing happened and started again. So he likes everything to be run properly. And if he believes that it's not being done properly at Swindon, it doesn't surprise me that he's walked away.
Di Canio was in charge at Swindon for 95 games. He won 54 of them, drew 18 and lost 23. He ends his Swindon reign with a win percentage of 57%. While Swindon won the League Two title last season in Di Canio's only full season in charge, they won the title with 93 points from 46 games. He stole the show at the end of season party. Lovely. Di Canio's Swindon career has been full of controversy. He had an on-field row with Leon Clark after the player's fourth game for the club, a League Cup defeat to Southampton. The pair had to be separated in the tunnel, and the next day, Di Canio told us Clark's career at Swindon was over because he didn't work hard enough.
Days before, he asked to leave, after 7 days. I'm sure because in here we are so professional, he doesn't want to be professional. Because in here we work hard, he doesn't want to work hard. He showed this since the first day he joined us. He's absolutely lazy person, lazy professional.
Well, Di Canio also publicly criticised goalkeeper Wes Fotheringham for being arrogant. He subbed the 21-year-old after just 21 minutes of their 4-1 defeat at Preston. Fotheringham stormed off and watched the rest of the game in the stands. It was a furious reaction from Di Canio.
League One, the first year after 2 years. League One, not Champions League. Mourinho, after 20 minutes, subs 2 players one day. Everybody say, fantastic manager. I don't want to imitate Mourinho. But he got his reason.
It's not just the players who Di Canio's had a go at. He also turned on the fans when he felt they were unfairly booing his team on the way to the League Two title.
Some fans against Shrewsbury starting booing after half an hour. Boo, boo. But I don't know. All day thought that they were Barcelona fans, so I can imagine you can boo in us, but not in the way we give in terms of determination or passion.
And parting is such sweet sorrow. The Swindon manager breaks his fans' hearts.
Swindon Town Football Club remains in limbo tonight. They're playing Tranmere Rovers. A victory will mean they go top of League One without an official owner and without a manager.
Yes, it follows Paolo di Canio's resignation after what he calls a string of broken promises. Well, Scott Ellis has been picking up the pieces at the county ground today.
This is unbelievable! Look, where is he going, Paolo di Canio?
He's brought passion and colour to Swindon, but now the Italians said ciao to the county ground, blaming broken promises and clearly frustrated by a sluggish change of owners. We know that on the 1st of February, Paolo di Canio was considering his position at the football club after they sold his star striker, Matt Ritchie. Last Tuesday, he says that he told the current board that he would resign. Then, on Friday, claims to have met the new owners and agreed terms, so long as the takeover was agreed by 5 o'clock last night. Well, there was no deal, so Paolo di Canio says his resignation stands. And so the last Di Canio left the county ground today in the shape of a £40 signed photo. Its owner, one of many fans, left a little stunned by events.
The way he left is what's going to hurt fans, but, you know, we move on and I think things, you know, Swindon will survive.
I do think he could have left it to the end of the season. We don't know what's going on behind closed doors. We really don't know. I think there's a lot that's still to come out in the fans to find out what's going on.
I liked him as manager. He's done a good job here. I'm not going to say that he hasn't, but he has dictated and he's wasted quite a bit of money over the time he has been here, and it's not helped the club out.
Players and fans left Swindon for Tranmere this afternoon. They'll miss Di Canio's drive and loyalty. Perhaps the Italian felt that his passion wasn't matched by others.
I suspect that probably the incoming owners and the outgoing owners were so preoccupied with trying to make sure that the deal went through in regulatory terms and in commercial terms, that perhaps they haven't been able to give the tender loving care which Paolo demands and needs and which he absolutely has to have in order to get the best out of him.
Bookies have called Di Canio the Jose Mourinho of League One. Their odds favour him going to Leeds or West Ham, and his replacement at Swindon being either Stephen Pressley, currently at Falkirk, Mike Newell, or Di Canio's assistant, Fabrizio Picaretta, who's been left at the helm. Scott Ellis, BBC Points West, Swindon.
Definitely going to be quieter on the sidelines, isn't it?